instructions.
What's that black thing over there? That's a new method to separate the air from the water and sample. On the side, there's a hole where they'll shoot the water and the air and the material they're bringing up. And it'll spin in a circle in there. The air will go out the top, and the water and sediment will fall off the bottom. And hopefully we get good sample quality. So we're hoping everyone gets the ball.
Yeah.
Bring some of that shiny stuff up. Figure sauce. We want this color.
Can I use it as an example?
No.
As operations at the drill site continue, Rick Lagina has asked his brother Marty and other members of their team to join him for a quick meeting in the war room.
Okay, before we start, we have one piece of good news. We're always looking for good news, right? We have a drainage permit for the swamp. Oh. It's good news. It's good news.
For Marty, news that the team has received permission to drain and dig in the Oak Island swamp doesn't exactly make him happy.
0 star, right?
Last summer, they got encouraging readings indicating the presence of non-ferrous or precious metal near the so-called Mercy Point, only to then have the readings mysteriously disappear.
This is great.
You get a hit, and you come up with nothing. How's that possible?
This past winter,
Big spike here.
the team scanned the frozen Oak Island swamp using a DeepMax X6 metal detection unit.
Still spiking.
But a detailed analysis of the data they collected turned out to be less than positive.
You know, I met with Dave Spencer from Kellyco yesterday, and we finally did get a report from Lorenz on the X6 and the Z1s. And honestly, it's not that hopeful. Do you have the letter?
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, this is not too encouraging because at the very end he says, unfortunately, there are only 1 or 2 ferrous metal objects we could see. All the others are of no interest. That's his summation. I hope that is not too disappointing for you. I hate that swamp. I've been clear about that. Stinky, nasty swamp. We've run every state-of-the-art instrumentation out there. We're still not sure. So I would be willing to say, look, we gave that the old college try and be done, and put more emphasis on the money pit. Guys, I don't want to dig anything in the swamp. That's where I'm at. What do you want to do?
I want to confirm that the 2 items that were found are those 2 targets, and we can do it very simply with
You don't think we can put an X through swamp?
No. Why not? Because we're not done yet. We're not. I'm not walking away.
Are you ready for one of Asia's biggest and most challenging obstacle race? Challenge yourself and go beyond boundaries.
Join me at Film Shalom on 26 March for the Great Eastern Bible Challenge 2016 in which we tourist and literate.
Honey, Peru is a dangerous country. Do you know anything about it?
Yeah, I do have to. Okay? I love you. Bye.
The green and the yellow.
Marty Lagina find themselves in a face-off that could affect the future of their entire operation. Ever since he was an 11-year-old boy growing up in northern Michigan, retired postal worker Rick Lagina has dedicated himself to solving the Oak Island mystery. He believes that somewhere at the bottom of the triangle-shaped swamp, the entrance to a vast underground treasure vault may lie hidden.
So what do you want? I want to know that those are dollars.
Okay, well, that's easy enough.
Check the GPR. I think run a whole different machine.
Yes.
You don't walk away when we're 90% of the way there.
Okay.
I'm not done with the swamp. The swamp is not done with us. There's something there, and I intend to find out.
All right, I'm not willing to give up.
I know that.
And so let's take a vote. Fine. Right now.
Okay. All of us want to continue the swamp.
Continue.
No, I want to watch them float around. You have to go out there.
And I will respectfully disagree, but I will wholeheartedly participate. I am ecstatic about us going back into the swamp, Rick. Okay, say one more time, I hate that swamp. It stinks, it's buggy, it's nasty.
You'll love it.
Yeah, when you pull Tutankhamun's second treasure out of there. Yeah, I like it then.
Don't get too crazy on me.
Now that the Laginas and their partners have agreed to continue investigating the Oak Island swamp, Marty has called in a local tree expert to examine a large stump that was pulled out of the water a few weeks ago.
Do we want it? Well, Joe, look, I appreciate you coming out. We got some mysteries we want solved. I understand you're the guy to do it.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, you shed some light, right? Yeah. And you know all things about trees, right? Yes.
Marty is curious to know if the stump found at the bottom of the swamp could have naturally grown in water.
Here's my first question. And I know this is difficult because this is weathered and waterlined and everything, but can you tell what species this is?
Not definitively, no. I would say it's probably hardwood. It's been underwater for some time, and it probably wouldn't have grown very well, completely submerged underwater. One would have to assume it was above water at some time.
Yeah, I mean, this is at 5 feet of water. It wouldn't have grown there.
No, you wouldn't think.
As hardwood trees, like the many oaks found on Oak Island, cannot grow in water, the stump found in the swamp may help prove that one of the island's most compelling and persistent theories is true, that the island's triangle-shaped swamp is, in fact, man-made. But how? According to many Oak Island theorists, the swamp was most likely formed by creating a 250-yard-long copper dam, bridging the east and west portions of the island, then draining out the water, and later refilling the area. But what would have been the purpose of such an elaborate engineering effort? The creation of an artificial swamp would have offered a perfect means to first dig a large underground vault or network of tunnels, bury something of great value, and then covered up beneath thousands of gallons of dark, brackish water. Water which would also make access to the site difficult, if not virtually impossible.
The fact of how certain Joe was that that tree couldn't possibly have grown in that location with the swamp in place makes me want to not give up on the swamp. Makes me want to kind of get back in there, do a little more research. The island lures us in again, is what I would call that.
Marty's renewed interest in exploring the swamp is a sign of his commitment to pursue his brother's lifelong dream of solving the Oak Island mystery. But Marty is also a practical man, and he is starting to consider what will happen if the costs start getting too high. At the drill site, Rick Lagina and Craig Tester learned that the larger rig has been successful at reaching a depth of 115 feet, but they are still 25 feet shy of their target depth of 140 feet. The depth they will need to reach if they are ever to find not only the money pit, but also the chapel vault.
Okay, solve this damn thing once and for all. I can go into record books. description of the old money pit. Solid clay-filled shaft. We get into the solid clay-filled shaft, we have a better idea of where the money pit was, and then maybe we can drill a few more holes to try to split spoon our way down and maybe then recover a real artifact.
That's way too much water.
Suddenly, gallons of muddy water gush out of the drill hole.
Look at all that.
What do you think?
It's got to be coming from below.
That's not good. The water issue is a concern. It's a danger. Where is that water coming from? We don't know. Is it flood tunnels? Or are we actually getting water from some unknown source and may destabilize the whole working platform? Worst case scenario, the rig topples. I mean, no one wants that.
Could Rick and Craig have hit one of the booby-trapped flood tunnels? The same flood tunnels that, according to legend, flooded the money pit 200 years ago, and that continue to flood other searcher tunnels and shafts like the Halifax Tunnel and 10X.
It's rocking pretty good.
Could the search for the money pit be over before it even had a chance to get started?
Yeah, I think you ought to step back.
Kita semua mahu yakin dengan kesegaran nafas kita. Jangan ambil penyelesaian yang salah. Bermula dengan Colgate Flex Band Puncak Colgate baru. Ia menghapuskan sehingga 99% bakteria dan melindungi selama 12 jam dengan rasa nyaman bulu arang lidah agar nafas anda sentiasa segar pada saat diperlukan. Colgate Flex Band Puncak Colgate baru untuk nafas segar berpanjangan. Cubalah setegak Colgate Taco.
No one around is the way. Summer voice for the multitude. What a kick! I'm testing the audacity. In a arena for total glory. This is the WWE Network. Tune channel 200 to subscribe.
The kitchen is your stage.
Every dish tells a story, and I want to tell my story.
Cooking is your passion.
Food is everything that I think of.
Now prove you've got what it takes to be Asia's next master chef.
Are you ready to win that coveted title?
Apply now at MasterChefAsia.com and live the dream of a lifetime.
This is what it's about.
It just makes goosebumps just to think of being on MasterChef.
MasterChef Asia, only on Lifetime. Home of MasterChef. What's real?
A 1977 calculator watch.
This is cool. What's fake? 1922 high relief corn. What's it worth?
$1 million. You gotta be kidding me.
What's the story?
Murray Houdini was a legendary magician.
Get yourself an education and have fun doing it.
Some people enjoy learning. Do you guys know when clapping first became popular?
Pawn Stars. All new Monday nights at 9. On History. March on History. We had music you agreed to. The world's greatest minds face off and risk it all. Mini-series event. Genius. The search for the world's greatest blacksmith continues. New season. Forged in Fire. On the trail of the biggest, most dangerous beasts. Series premiere. Chasing monsters. March on History.
Some mysteries While trying to drill a 140-foot hole in the money pit area to get a core sample, Rick Ladina and Craig Tester have accidentally tapped into a gusher of water.
Watch out for that. You see that?
Yeah, I see that.
Could they have struck one of the legendary booby-trapped flood tunnels? The ones long believed to have been constructed centuries ago to protect whatever it is that lies buried on Oak Island? If so, then the water that came gushing out of the hole would be salt water from the surrounding ocean.
It's not that bad. That is not salt water.
Now you're see if we can David to drink some. It's burn or not.
According to accounts by previous treasure hunters, the water that flooded the money pit in the 19th century was salt water, unlike the fresh groundwater found elsewhere on the island. The presence of ocean water gave credibility to stories of a network of booby-trapped flood tunnels, which enter the money pit area at various depths and from various directions. It is these flood tunnels which, when triggered, prevent the area around the money pit from being excavated, and whatever lies buried at the bottom from being retrieved.
Dish that David tested?
Yeah. Although tapping into what could be a man-made booby trap would be an indication that Rick and Craig were on the right track. So far as finding the money pit is concerned, a non-stop flood of seawater would seriously undermine any progress the team was hoping to make.
Hey, boss. You're going to be our lap rat for the day.
Nah. Come on, what do you want? Is it salt or
We
fresh?
both tasted it. We say it's fresh. You taste
It's
it.
fresh.
Yeah. No, taste it.
Let me see them all.
No, that's the lip. Come on.
Fresh. I think it's really brackish. Or brackish, there's no salt in it.
What do you think it is?
Yeah.
No, it's fresh.
Finding fresh water most likely indicates that Rick and the team may have hit an artesian well, one which could pose a significant threat to their drilling efforts.
The first thing of interest for me is, you know, the old stories, money pit salt water, money pit salt water. And the curious thing was, it wasn't salty. There's probably been an introduction of fresh water into that system. So it's one more complexity to the puzzle. It's a little disturbing, though, that there's that amount of fresh water in there. I can't explain it, I don't know.
So as usual,
One answer, two questions.
While the drilling process continues back at the money pit site, Craig Tester meets with Marty to give him an update on the day's progress.
Hey, Craig. How's the drilling going?
well, it's going slow. It's frustrating.
Is he making progress?
Yeah, he's making progress. I mean, the actual drilling is very quick. Maybe 20 feet.
Yeah, but he's not having the same troubles that the other guy had.
No.
He's got enough pump.
He's got
able
plenty
to
of
pull
power.
it.
He's got plenty of power. It's just, it's frustrating. It's not.
I want to tell you what, Craig, it's expensive too. You know how much the outlay is for that rig. We've been out here now, we drilled 2 holes looking for the Halifax tunnel, didn't find anything, now we're drilling in the money pit. I mean, at some point, we all have to be thinking, you know, when does enough become enough, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
We're burning money at a pretty good rate. We need a breakthrough.
I guess, you know, if you look at this year's efforts, it's been disappointing. We got some teasers. I guess we just need to, you need to find that malt.
Okay, well, you know what? In for penny, in for pound. Let's keep going for a while and see what happens.
Definitely.
All right, good. I want to work through some more figures and I'll join you out there.
Okay, sounds
Good
good.
deal. We'll make some holes, Greg.
That's good.
That's it.
Okay.
For Marty Lagina, his brother's determination to pursue multiple theories and search in more than one area at a time may have increased the team's chances for success. But they have also put a strain on the already limited number of days the team could all be together on the island.
This is an expensive venture. we have a lot of money in this, all of us, not just me, Craig, Rick, and expenses continue to add up. So at some point, money will matter. At some point, we have to look at the bottom line and say, is this still worth it?
Power is dangerous. These are the words of the gods. But that power, that danger, is everything. Those who dream of danger may awake to death. But life must be lived to the fullest before it is over. The gods have already written my story. Victory or Valhalla.
Vikings, new season, Fridays 10 p.m. on History. Watch the new season of Vikings on History and stand to win a trip to Viking Village in Denmark. Go to astro.com.ny/live and learn for more details.
Why?
No, you souls don't be quiet. I said you did.
Make me shuffle 1, 2, and 3. Tune channel 41 to purchase.
May the best plane win. We fly again tomorrow. Let's go.
Yes, premieres March 15th, Tuesday, 10 p.m. on History.
Back at the Money Pit site, progress is finally being made. The 30-ton drilling rig has been stabilized, and the drill bits have proved powerful enough to move past layers of debris and reach the team's target depth of 140 feet.
Breaker ready. Start going.
If Craig Tester's calculations are correct, the team could find themselves within a few feet of the original money pit, and possibly the mysterious wooden object known as the Chapel Vault.
It's taken a long time to get to the 140-foot level, but now we're ready to start taking some split spoon samples. Okay, ready to try?
Yeah, let's do it.
The process is a relatively simple one. First, Jordan Rogers of Valleywell Drillers begins mounting a 2-foot coring head. Once deployed, the drill will insert a steel casing into the 140-foot hole to keep it from collapsing. Then, a 2-foot-long hollow coring bit, otherwise known as a split spoon sampler, will extract a sample of earth, along with any other objects present. If the split spoon can retrieve any artifacts that can be dated to before 1795, then the Laginas and their team will have found the money pit.
At this point, it just comes down to luck. Did we pick the right spot? Is there something there? And how far are we going to penetrate into it? So that makes the question why are we here?
We're finding it right there.
We're just waiting for the split spoon. It has to come out of that hole. And finally, maybe we can get some information. Up till now, it's just been a real money pit. That's not good. I mean, it's gonna come up sloppy wet.
Yeah.
We're not gonna get a solid core.
Well, it's got a slurry up to where its pores are. Well, the core could still be perfectly fine, but we'll see. Will we get a full barrel? Yeah.
threshold moment for the Oak Island team. Will the core sample, containing materials from 140 feet deep underground, indicate that they are close to finding the original Oak Island money pit?
Definitely got wood. See what else we might have.
It'd be nice to know what that is, what
Yeah.
species of wood that is.
Yeah, definitely. There we go. It was kind of slow. Just definitely. Clay. That's what they found at the top of the wall. I think it's bedrock right there.
But I don't think that's bedrock.
Maybe it's concrete, Rick.
That is a possibility. Concrete and then wood. That's the description.
Concrete and wood? Have Rick, Craig, and Dave not only located the original money pit, but also the mysterious chapel vault, the one first discovered by William Chapel more than 100 years ago?
What if this is a side piece, or we're coming right down the side of it?
But like you said, why is this third this way?
That's the top. Here's the top. This is sitting on top of this beam. We cut through that right into this side.
I mean, it made sense, but
Why is there a button? There's always a button on that.
According to historical records, the strange wooden vault William Chapel and his team discovered measured 7 feet high with 7-inch thick walls. It was covered by a mixture of clay and sand that looked like cement, which laboratory tests conducted at the time determined to have been worked by man.
that is curious. The two different orientations of wood. It's curious that this is old.
It stinks.
Have Rick, Craig, and the Oak Island team really taken a core sample from the legendary Chapel Vault? And if so, what might they discover inside it? Pirate treasure? Rare manuscripts? Precious religious artifacts? Is the Oak Island team really on the threshold of solving this 200-year-old mystery?
When the first split spoon came up, initially it's wow. You know, there's a wow factor to it because we all see clay, you see what might be construed as poor cement, and then there's horizontal wood, and then there's vertical wood. So we're basically looking at the description from 1897 right there in front of our faces.
We should take this to my brother.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get in the truck and go. Okay.
There will come a time when you will be responsible for our people. Vikings, Fridays 10 p.m. on History. Watch the new season of Vikings on History and stand to win a trip to Viking Village in Denmark. Go to outro.com to learn for more details.
Meet Rachel Zoe, celebrity stylist, the absolute authority on all things fashion. Trend or tragic? I am not a fan. What? Or you fan? Together with her accomplice Derek, her partner in crime Roger, and a whole lot of star power. I didn't have a stylist. I thought this was fashionably late. This is actually intervention. Fashion talk shows will never be the same again. All new Fashionably Late with Rachel Zoe. March 16th, Wednesday night at 10 on Lifetime.
The search for the world's finest blacksmith continues. Forged in Fire, season premiere, March 10th, 9 p.m. on History. Some mysteries deserve exploring.
The personified genius. That fascinates us.
Some inventions are born through rivalry.
People don't know they want it, but once they see it, they're gonna want it.
Some monsters are worth chasing. Some battles are fought with love. In our world, we live and learn. for the world's greatest blacksmith continues. New season, Forged in Fire. On the trail of the biggest, most dangerous beasts, series premiere, Chasing Monsters. March on History.
Draw pistol!
It's gonna revolutionize the world.
Yes, premieres March 15th, Tuesday, 10 p.m. History.
Rick Lagina, Craig Tester, and Dave Blankenship may have just made one of the most Memphis discoveries in the history of Oak Island. They may have found not only the original money pit, but also a mysterious wooden vault not located in more than a century.
Okay, let's surprise the hell out of them.
Artie,
Gregor, how you doing?
good?
What's going on, hey Rick?
Little surprise for you.
Little surprise for you. Don't say anything until you look at it. Okay. This is the core? This is the first core? This is the core.
Which way is down?
The top, this is the bottom.
From where? What? Yeah.
140 feet.
142.
So,
Looks like concrete in it.
it kind of does look like concrete.
Yeah.
The odds on is that is cement.
Yeah.
That's, like the top of a wood vault. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Why the grains running down the waist?
Top, side.
Great. I'm gonna write down the side.
Based on the alignment of the wood grain found in the core sample, the team believes they didn't simply find a piece of milled wood from the top of the wooden vault, but from a portion of both the top, where the grain would run horizontally, and the side, where the grain would run vertically. In other words, they had the equivalent of a bullseye.
Does it say in that book what the physical appearance of it was?
Yeah. Clay, cement, wood. I mean, it's amazing.
That's exactly what was described in 1897, where they got the piece of parchment, ostensibly the gold chain too, right? And they described that to a T. Clay, cement, wood. And I think, wow, geez, Craig, you nailed it.
This is great, guys. I guess you couldn't ask for anything better. You got cement, wood fibers running this way, wood fibers running that way.
I mean, everybody since 1897, when this vault was first found, has been trying to refine this, and nobody has found it.
Craig, for the first time I've ever seen him, is over the moon about this. And I know my brother is skeptical. He's done this before. I need proof, I need proof, I need proof.
Oh, we're just on the very edge.
If we're on the outside, this is classic Oak Island, right? We're going to drill another one, aren't we?
Which way?
All 4 ways, all 6 ways, whatever. Any bets? Next 2 feet?
Little shiny gold.
Shiny things down there, and you're clearly, look at that tape. You're either falling out of it or you're going in it.
Shortly after finding the cement-covered wooden vault in 1897, William Chappell and his colleagues continued drilling additional core samples. Upon reaching a depth of 171 feet, they were stopped by what they believed to be a large, heavy metal object located directly beneath the mysterious wooden vault. Could it have been a second treasure site? One its contents were considered so priceless or so dangerous that it had to be encased in metal? The treasure hunters would never know, because before they could excavate the site, the money pit flooded with seawater from what appeared to be yet another underground booby trap. The gigantic hole was filled in, and William Chappell and his colleagues went home empty-handed.
Okay, let's go get us another core right away.
Yep.
Let's go. We should take this to Dan.
The news that Rick, Craig, and Dave Blankenship the team on Oak Island. Did they really find not only the original money pit, but also the mysterious chapel vault?
I'll go get Dad and see if he's up.
All right. So, you gotta tell me one thing. Why you of all people are that excited? Cold, calculating, scientific, detached analysis. Craig, why are you so excited?
It fits the story. I mean, I am a skeptic on many things, but, and we gotta see what Dan says, but,
Yes.
Hey, Dan,
We need you to tell us what we found.
what do you got, Rick?
Hopefully,
What's that look like?
Dan did a lot of work in the money pit. He punched a lot of holes with the old churn drill. He has a keen intellect and a keen memory, so he brings an asset that we don't have.
Like Rick Lagina, Dan Blankenship has spent nearly 50 years determined to solve the mystery. He has spent thousands of hours drilling, coring, and digging, and has met with more than his fair share of setbacks and bad luck. For him, Oak Island is both an obsession and a curse. An obsession to find out what lies buried here, and a curse if he should be forced to leave the island empty-handed.
It looks like a core or something. You can see it. There's some kind of material around it. Here, it's in here. Wood toad, that's for sure. I find that wood very interesting because of the difference. This is this direction, this is that direction. You've noticed that, I'm sure. And this one here is in the vertical.
Yeah, up and down.
You may have something. Chapel's Law.
I'm wondering, is this the top of the vault? We're hitting the side, and we hit a post on the side.
If this is Chapel's Law, that's the culmination of some 45 years' work. Looks like we might have been right. You know what your odds are at hitting something down there after all these many years and so many holes been put down?
Yeah.
Astronomical, really.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Dan. I told you we weren't giving up. We're not going to give up. What do you say?
Oh, I think you have basis for what you call optimism.
Okay.
Today was a good day on Oak Island. Information has been gathered and progress has been made. But more than that, faith has been renewed.
Let's make some core.
Big day. Morning, Marty.
You ready, David?
Yes.
Let's bring it up. Let's bring it home.
That's right.
For Marty Lagina, finding the money pit means that all the years of hard work and the millions of dollars spent so far may all have been worth it.
It's the encouragement we needed to get. It always seems to happen on this bloody island. About the time you're in the pits and you're ready to give up and say, let's go home, something happens to get you wired back in. Time will tell. But I think this is a small victory.
For Rick, it means that the 50 years he spent believing in a dream may not have been in vain.
Hopefully, when the next one comes up, we'll have something to look at. It's always been my hope and my dream to be successful. Best case scenario as to what's down there is we actually found the original money pit. That's incredible. We moved the dial in on the Oak Island history. So I'm excited about that, but also to see with our own eyes that those old stories are real.
But now, there is much more work to do. Finding the money pit is one thing. Reaching and retrieving whatever lies at the bottom is quite another. And what will the Laginas and their partners ultimately find? An underground treasure vault? Chests of gold? Priceless objects and sacred artifacts? Or will it be something so incredible and so powerful that the elaborate way in which it was hidden was meant to be taken as a warning.
Ready? Set. Here we go.
Next time on The Curse of Oak Island.
There we go.
Let's tell the report.
We're on the side. We're on the edge of something.
We need to figure the best way to take a look at it.
That side throw. It's the instruction on how to stop the flow tracks.
I still think the swamp has something to tell us.
X marks the spot.
We found another coin. It could be very significant.
Looks like we definitely got something. Looks like a Knights Templar cross.
Right now, this ends right here.
I think that most people are unaware of the Viking society, its rituals, and its virtues. We've accepted and assumed that they were monstrous killers without conscience and simply raped and pillaged with no sense of morality at all. To some extent, this is because their history wasn't written by themselves, it was written later by Christian monks. There was a huge attempt to obliterate pagan history when all the Scandinavian countries were finally Christianized.
A lot of people in Viking times were traders. They would just try and make their way in a landscape which was harsh and uninhabitable.
So there's a sense that they were actually quite preoccupied with being clean and with presentation. They did find that people were buried with toiletries, basically, that they had combs, and men would travel with a change of clothes.
Yeah, they were quite advanced, socially. They had laws about everything.
Olaf Edlund, you have pleaded guilty to the charge of stealing. Tomorrow you will run a gauntlet of stones and turf as punishment.
His cloth. They had a much more democratic society than we perhaps imagined. Societies at that time in France, in England, were hierarchical, very stratified. The Vikings' legal system, their words, influenced cultures around the world.
There's so much to the pagan religion and traditions, their festivals they had, their way of life, the way they respected women. If you go to a lot of the research that you can find in Scandinavia, you'll see that they are a full-blooded culture of people that contributed to a lot of people's everyday lives.
They left their DNA all over the world. They were absolutely extraordinary, and it would have been dangerous but amazing to have met them.
Same day as the U.S. Vikings. New season. Fridays 10 p.m. on History.
This March on FYI, 4 couples and one last-ditch effort to save their marriage.
You must be my new wife.
We switched spouses for 2 weeks.
The experimental 7-year switch. I'm ready for a positive chapter to start. Lone Bell is in search of black love. Khloe Kardashian's moving into FYI, and you're invited to her fabulous party. New series, Cocktails with Khloe. This March on FYI, for your inspiration.
A proud samurai tradition that came to an abrupt end in remembrance of the Fukushima nuclear disaster. Samurai of Fukushima, March 12th, Saturday, 8 p.m. on History.
Paris might seem like a pretty bizarre place to fish, but I've heard that in the Seine River, right downtown Paris, there's some monster-sized Wells catfish. Fish that can be over 8 feet long and close to 300 pounds. And that's exactly why I'm here in Paris, to try to catch one of those, the biggest one possible. Yep, that's right. I'm in downtown Paris, in search of the biggest freshwater fish in Europe, the Wells catfish. Originally, Wells catfish didn't come from France, but from nearby eastern countries. It's an invasive species that was introduced into the Seine River in the
first goal is to catch one on a rod in Paris. But since I caught catfish by hand in Oklahoma, I definitely want to try to get one of these monsters with just my bare hands. Oh, excuse me, but for that, I'm gonna need my buddy Skipper. He's a pro at bare hand fishing.
Woo! He's gonna run up, lock you on the foot, latch on, shake maybe.
We're gonna hook up in Spain for some hand-to-hand combat with a giant catfish. The first problem, though, is getting to the Seine River. Parisian traffic is pure chaos. Now, this is worse than crossing a river infested with piranhas in the Amazon. I love discovering new fishing spots, but I must admit, this one is particularly beautiful. I know there are monsters in this river, but my time is limited. In France, we're only allowed to fish up to 30 minutes after dark.
I really hope this is going to catch your attention.
Dog food, I mean.
I tell you, we're getting into prime catfish fishing time because dusk, getting towards night, and actually nighttime is when the catfish really wake up and start going on the hunt. Because those fish, they're both scavengers and active predators. And when they scavenge, they don't really use their eyes to find food. They use their goggles to probe the bottom for any decaying matter. So that it will be dead animals, dead fish, dead birds, dead whatever. When they go after a prey, they're using their goggles to feel any movement in the water, any vibration in the water, and pounce on it. Fish on, fish on, fish on, fish on, fish on. Come on, come on. Fish on. Stop. What's going on up the boat there? What's going on up the boat? That's the good. Oh, yeah, it's a big fish. I just saw it steal.
Chasing Monsters series premiere March 10th on History. Talking about a new country, a new nation, just one new man's families interested. They can be cool.
Does religion permeates life? And prayer is a daily ritual?
这个藏族女人，我在看到她一直在朝着这个寺院在朝拜，她一定有一种非常强大的内心世界，一种坚定不移的一个信念在她心中。
High on the Tibetan plateau, the altitude is more than 3,000 meters. The air is thin, and the extreme weather makes it difficult to farm. The people barely get by. But life here is simple. John is visiting a local family to discover the secrets behind their contentment.
想不想跟我去上海做艺术家？平均活到多少？大家都平均起来活到多少？那很高长寿啊！
这也是一种手摇的转音，整个卷的清楚都是6字真言。那么我们今天早上在寺院里面，这些要更大的诠释，那个一转那个
拿笔、拿手笔，以及跟身体分开。
Buddhism gives the Tibetan people a strong sense of spirituality, but its practice is deeply rooted in their way of life, making it difficult for outsiders to understand. Through his art, Zhang Huan has captured Buddha's ideals and their understanding of the human condition. Then taking it a step further, he compares Buddha's ideals to those of Western religions, working to bridge the gap between Christianity and Buddhism through their common belief in human suffering.
我也好，耶稣也好，他们试图把人们从痛苦中解脱，但是他们永远解脱不了人们对死亡的恐惧。而佛教修炼的就是如何解决死的问题，用一个更好的方式去死，这是完全不一样的。
By using incense ash, a uniquely Eastern medium, to sculpt Jesus, a quintessentially Western figure, Zhang Huan's symbolism is universally understood. The statues of Buddha and Jesus are designed to slowly disintegrate, leaving nothing behind. Although these pieces are ephemeral, their message is resilient and will remain long after these figures are gone.
Qui a Firenze perché l'arte di Zhang Huan, le opere possono assolutamente essere in dialogo, in relazione con culture che appartengono a epoche diverse ma che possono entrare in relazione con il nostro contemporaneo.
Zhang Huan is bringing the East and the West closer through his art, but China's rapid change is constantly presenting him with new challenges in his quest for cultural preservation and dialogue. Will he succeed in preserving the traditions he's trying to showcase to the rest of the world? Relics and works of art are symbols of cultural heritage, representing a nation's history and tradition. To understand Zhang Huan's creative mind, I must also understand his obsession with collecting antiques. China has over 5,000 years of history, whose rich art and culture have become an inspiration for Zhang Huan. He doesn't only use them in his artwork, he collects and preserves them in his workshop. These cultural relics continue to imbue him with passion and purpose.
我听说您非常喜欢石头，而且收集石头。
对，我收主要是墓葬文化。我第一次看到棺的时候，就打动了我，这是我心中的最爱的东西。
He has turned his vast studio complex into a cultural heritage site, an open museum with numerous artifacts he picked up throughout the years. Each object has a philosophical significance and inspires him to create new artwork.
收藏棺、古美术，那么一下我就转换到当代艺术了。这一件是对巴西的一个城市公共艺术，将会用巴西的那个铁矿石来制作这座棺，然后人呢可以走进去，往那棺中去思考人生、生死，对，思考这个概念。
Zhang Huan's efforts don't stop with preserving objects. He's also trying to save an ancient way of life. Today, he's visiting a Tibetan medicine doctor to find out more about their mystic ways.
是生活，你什么不好？你什么不好？是不是有问题？
Much like in Chinese medicine, the Tibetan doctor first takes a pause to diagnose the patient. They can tell what's wrong with the body just from the speed and strength of his heartbeat. Tibetan medicine has been practiced for thousands of years. After the patient is diagnosed, they are prescribed a variety of natural dried herbs and ingredients including insect and animal parts to be boiled into a tea. Its remedies have been passed down from generation to generation.
这个地方，再往下，这个有这个样，这个是有水，有水有火光马上人就出来了。我对藏医就特别感兴趣。藏医里边它有很多就是神秘的东西。我的理解 实的贡献。
Many Tibetans practice an ancient ritual called the sky burial. Instead of burying their dead, they chop up the bodies into pieces and leave them out in the open for vultures to feed on. By doing this, they return the body to nature, both literally and metaphorically. Rogipas are the ones who prepare the bodies.
天葬师1星期要解剖多少个尸体？1000多年下来以后，对这个医学的经验慢慢都积累下来。
To Zhanghuan, it has a religious and mystic significance.
天葬的这个过程也是非常迷人的一个过程。天葬师把逝者包裹起来，背到天葬台，夜里就出发了，开始大块的解剖，用斧头切成更小的块。这个时候你就看满天都是秃鹫，西藏的这个秃鹫全部都在空中飞的，都在这边等着落下来。
The sky burial's long history has helped the Tibetan people understand human anatomy and ways to treat illnesses. Zhanghuan has incorporated this ancient Tibetan tradition into his art. Tibetan and Chinese medicine use various natural ingredients, including animal parts, and boil them down into tea. Normally, once the herbs are boiled, they are thrown out. But Zhanghuan has taken these discards and made them into a medium for his art.
在中国的这个中药里边有6000多种中药，那么大体分类它有植物类的、草木类的，是吧？这种贝壳、壳类的、矿物类的、动物类的。几年前我开始用中药来创作。如果香灰是治人的神经病、精神病的，那么中药就是治各类疑难杂症。
Zhanghuan's ever-changing expression of his artistic themes never fails to surprise his collectors.
Well, Zhanghuan astonishes me. Time after time, I expect to know the work. And time after time, there is something absolutely new that I've never seen before. But there are very few artists that can take that energy and content and reinvent themselves continuously. And Zhanghuan is this astonishing inventor of Zhanghuan. Every time I'm sure I know who he is, visit Zhanghuan.
All this news and you'll never get sick.
一定的，一定。
Zhanghuan makes use of every object and piece of cultural knowledge that he collects. He breathes new life into discarded and forgotten items and makes them relevant to the modern world. Will he be able to preserve the ancient culture of China through these efforts? Zhanghuan's newest creation is a giant human figure stitched together with animal hide. Called the Know the Destiny, it's a metaphor for modern China. The mythological giant sits exhausted on the floor. It desires to save its people, but it is being overwhelmed by their sheer number.
家里都有牛，中原农村的一个主要的生产工具。牛皮想表达的是动物的一面，人的后面是说的人的兽，人是一个兽，永远是个兽。那么英雄和巨人其实讲的是一个国家背负着沉重的这么一个13亿5000万人口。 从过去历史一直走到今天，如何面对未来？
This sculpture will be covered by the skin of more than 200 animals. It is an unusual medium that is tied to Zhanghuan's childhood. For him, this is a rebirth, as the hides of these animals give the figure new life. The massive scale of this piece requires the work of a team of assistants who start by curing each hide.
这个蛇毛是容易掉的，还没有固化，因为它全部是软的。反过来脱的时候也可以把皮脱干。为什么叫大家把皮提起来？目的就是目的提高效率，好吧？那大家就分头吧。
Art dealer Arne Glimcher observes the unique way Zhao Huan's style has been conditioned by his background and environment.